All right, it's 12 o'clock and we'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to thank those of you who've been able to join us today. My name is Cecilia Griego with the City of Bakersfield, and this webinar will be covering our new Economic Opportunity Area Incentive Program. Oops, trying to click through. Okay. Went a little too far. All right, here's our agenda today. First, I'm going to do a few introductions to my new economic development unit under the city's new economic and community development department. And then I'll do a little bit on how you can interact with me on the Zoom webinar today. I'm going to cover the economic opportunity area plan that was adopted by council. Then go into the incentive program, talk about the application process, and at the end we'll have Q&A. This is the economic development team. There's me, Cecilia Griego, I'm the principal, and then we have Jason Cater, an ED planner, Alyssa Krisherman, ED planner, and then Adriana Legoretta, who's our ED specialist. And if you ever need to get a hold of us, this is our contact information. Or there's also a direct link to our website at bakersfieldcity.us/economic development. Just a little bit about this webinar today. You will only see either the host or co-host if I can get her to join me. If not, you'll just see me. If you have any questions, please enter them in the Q&A. Since I don't have staff looking at those right now to answer, I'll probably just go ahead and enter them, and then we'll have room at the end. I can see them all, and I can go back and answer them at the end of the webinar. You can access this by going to the Q&A icon at the menu. It's either at the top or the bottom of the screen, however you set up your way to view the webinar today. But you can click on that and enter your questions. This session, like I said, this session is being recorded and later will be posted on our website. First thing about the Economic Area Opportunity Area Plan. It's a locally initiated program that uses both tax increment financing and other local sales tax funds to promote economic growth within specific geographic areas of Bakersfield. And these are the currently adopted EOA areas. There's 7 of them. When council was looking at this program, they really wanted to focus where, previously we had redevelopment dollars to help with redevelopment in these areas, and we lost those. They wanted to develop a way that we could try to help encourage reinvestment in those former areas. So we're definitely in downtown, Old Town Kern, Southeast Bakersfield, and also along the 58 corridor, you can see, and also around the East Hills Malls area, just areas where we haven't seen as much private investment as you do in other areas of town, or it's just, so we're hoping with this program we can help businesses expand into these areas. Just a little bit about the funding sources for this. First is the tax increment financing. For example, the way that works, let's say an EOA generates about $500,000 in annual property tax revenue for the city. And then the next year, let's say it generated a little bit more than that because of, reassessments or how, whenever your property tax bill can usually gradually go up. Let's say it's at 522,000. So the difference between that is considered the tax increment. And what the city does is it pulls that aside, saves it, and uses that to fund this program. So basically, whatever growth and development we see on taxes in an EOA area, that is reinvested into that EOA. So each EOA has its own fund based on the amount of tax increment that it generates. So let's say after 10 years, the property tax, it now generates 590. $100,000, then that the $90,000 is then reinvested into the EOA. And then with the adoption of Measure N, the PSVS funds, the city also, since economic development is one of the goals, and helping reinvest in business is one of the goals of that measure, the city decided to allocate another $100,000 into each EOA fund for the next 5 years. So that's just more investment the city is hoping to make into these areas. These are the current fund balances for each of the EOA. So basically, just to let you know just what's available and what we have. A little bit about the goals of the plan, like I said, the purpose of the plan is to develop and encourage new business, promote existing business retention and expansion, and support economic development activities such as new and existing development, doing infill, rehabable building, if you want to demo and do new things, and property acquisition. Also, infrastructure improvements help invest in upgrades to any like storm drains, streets, alleys, curb gutter, landscape enhancements. And kind of what I'm going to talk to you today, a third component of the EOA plan was to do financial incentives. So loans, grants, development fee, public improvement reimbursements. So that's what I'm going to be talking to you today about the plan, about at least a portion of the financial incentives that we have activated for this plan. So now we'll go into the incentive program itself. Basically, these are the kind of the main objectives that we hope to achieve with these incentives. So, improvements that increase property value, enhance aesthetics, create jobs, helps develop infrastructure, attracts other funds and resources to the community, promotes business development, generates increases in local tax or property tax, helps restore the tax base and address blight and deteriorating property conditions, is harmonious with the surrounding properties and uses, will help diversify, supplement an existing business mix. It achieves goals of adopted city plans or visioning plans, and it also offers the businesses that these incentives will support will offer goods and services deemed desirable and appropriate for each EOA area. So it's pretty broad-based. Pretty much if you meet one or more of these objectives, I mean, you can be considered for this funding. How much funds are available for each grant. So really that's kind of determined on meeting those program objectives and the amount of funds available. We ask that you just consult with city staff, and obviously, we can't do a whole project, there's not enough there, but we can at least see how this program can maybe help with a portion, or if you're just gonna plan minor improvements, these funds could be eligible for you. Just to let you know, any request of these funds that exceeds $25,000 will need to be brought to City Council for review and action. If your request is below $25,000, your proposal will be reviewed internally by staff, and your approval can happen that way. A little bit about each incentive grant that we offer. The first one is Site Improvement and Rehab Grant. Really, this is to support enhancements to the physical appearance of your site. Obviously, the priority will be given to any vacant or unutilized structures to help, new uses or revitalize previous uses. Like again, we really want to see, the new life be brought to kind of our historic core of downtown, and also in all the EOA areas. We ask that your ask be at least $5,000. We don't want to, less than that. It's just easier if we can have at least that much of an ask. Activities under this grant may be subject to California prevailing wages, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. And all of the eligible activities and costs are funded on a reimbursement basis, meaning the way this grant program works, you will be, you'll apply for it, you'll do the work, and then we will reimburse the costs that are the eligible costs that you asked to fund with this grant. Breaking down the site improvement rehab grant, there's kind of 3 areas where we can fund improvements. There's facade improvements, those are, those exterior building improvements, painting, awnings, doors, windows, lighting. Site improvements, these are more, non-structural improvements to your site, sidewalk, parking lots, landscaping. And then there's tenant improvements, those are those, interior improvements to your structure. Breaking down a little bit for under the facade improvement grants, these are the eligible activities that the grant will cover. So pretty much anything related to, an exterior improvement, windows, painting, walls, doors, re-roof. I'll let you guys can read through this, and this presentation will be posted later so you can read this, and all of this can also be found in the guidelines, which I'll direct you to those too also. These are just some pictures of kind of, what we hope to see. Just we do have a lot of old buildings, things, just come out of disrepair. We would just love to see things, brought back to life. And just new and creative uses that can be put in these areas. A little bit on the site property enhancements. These are more, exterior, like I said, doing public gathering spaces, painting related to these outside improvements, lighting, fencing, parking lot reconstruction, landscaping, shade structures, outdoor furniture, any kind of walkway enhancements, sidewalks, pavers, plazas, or any improvements you're doing that, allows that pedestrian use. And then the tenant improvements, these are interior improvements. We really would rather focus these funds on what we call high visibility interior improvements. So those that are kind of visible to both, your customers and the public. So i.e. dining rooms, if it's a restaurant, lobbies, sales floors, that kind of thing. So obviously we hope to help any kind of, code compliance issues as far as bringing things up to code. We can help, up with electrical, plumbing, ADA accessibility upgrades, fire and other safety upgrades, painting, purchase of equipment, furniture, fixtures, elevator repair, air conditioning, heating, and just any kind of interior remodeling we can also help with. The third incentive grant we offer is called the Business Relocation and Expansion Grants. This is where we want to support businesses to open up new areas, new shops. Maybe you have one in Bakersfield, you want to open a second location, or you're just a brand new business moving into town. This is to help offset some of those relocation costs. So this will go to any owner of a new location or new owner of the location, or anybody's entering at least a 3-year lease at this new location. Again, we ask that your ask be at least $5,000. Again, it's a reimbursement thing. And another requirement of this grant is this is our one that we ask for job creation. Given that, it is a new building, a new location, a new business, we like to see the public benefit being creating jobs. So we ask for at least one full-time job with a $5,000 grant, and at least one full-time job created for each $10,000 asked after that initial one. Again, this is to help offset some of your moving costs. This could help with property acquisition, real estate fees, rent reimbursement for up to 1 year, a new business permit fee, any moving costs, or purchasing new new furniture and equipment for your new. We can't cover installation costs that will trigger prevailing wage. So we're trying to avoid that if we just cover the new furniture and equipment purchase. The third one is what we're calling development assistance. A lot of times when a new business opens to a new area or expands, you might have to, there's development fees that you have to pay when you file for your building permit, or there's maybe public infrastructure improvements. You have to upgrade the landscaping, you have to upgrade sidewalks. A lot of times that happens when you do a redevelopment on a site. So this is an activity that covers that. Again, it's a reimbursement base, and this is one that may be subject to prevailing wages. What can be covered under this? Again, any kind of development fee. So a building permit fee, sewer connection, water connection, a traffic impact fee, any kind of planning or land use fee. Also, if you have the street improvements that you have to do as far as your new site, any sewer, water, storm drainage, sidewalks, street lights, landscaping. Sometimes those are things that you have to do along the frontage of your property. So this funding can address these activities. There's also under the EOA program, there's two incentive programs we haven't activated yet, but we hope to, hopefully in the next year. One is a TIF financing, and then one is small business loans. So just stay tuned for that, and we'll let you know when we can activate those programs. Just a little bit on program eligibility. It must be an existing legal business located or will be located within an EOA area in the city of Bakersfield. This funding can go for both for-profit and nonprofit exempt entities. The business owners who are tenants of a building, that's not phrased right. If you're tenants of a building, you must be there at least have a 3-year lease, or be a new, owners of the building. The businesses that received a grant in the past 5 years, let's say, in 5 years, just say you take advantage of this in 5 years, we will consider you again for funding. We don't want to, usually if we go fund an improvement, we don't expect to have to fund it that soon again. Any improvements that were completed prior to the execution of the grant agreement are not eligible. We don't want to be funding work that you've already done. The point is to get a new work, new projects going. The applicants, you must not be under any active investigation with any city code violations or criminal investigations. New construction projects and buildings occupied. These are just typical these are just businesses that we're not going to fund under this program. They're defined by city code here. Any contractors you use must have a valid California contractor's license, and contractors must comply with all California labor codes. All improvements shall conform to city building codes, zoning ordinance, site plan, whatever we require. We want to make sure it's done right. When applicable, I realize not every project will be structural. You won't always need an architect or designer, but if you do, they need to be involved in the project design. The construction of grant funded improvements must be completed within 6 months of your executed grant agreement. If you do need an extension, you need to submit it at least 30 days prior to the expiration of that 6 months. This is a little bit about that California prevailing wage. Just so you know, any kind of improvement or rehab is considered per labor code a public works project. So if your project is paid in whole or even just in part with these public funds, and your construction cost is over $25,000, or if you're doing an alteration, demo, or repair, and it's over $15,000, your project will be subjected to California prevailing wages. So just a little bit, you can always call us if you're not clear about this, and we can always, when you do that consultation with staff early on, we will, we can get more into detail on this with you. These are just examples of projects or activities that would be not considered fundable. Like again, if it's previously funded in the past 5 years, no, we won't cover administrative or financing or legal costs or extermination of vermin costs. Title ports, escrow fees we will not cost. Refinancing of existing debt, we will not. Working capital, this is not meant to help operate your business, it's to help with more on-site costs. Environmental assessments, like again, no operational costs. No non-visible kind of equipment screening. No temporary improvements. We only want to do the more things that are more permanent. Not routine or maintenance and repair, and not purchase of tools. Again, this is just about that 6 months of execution. Usually when you get to that 6 months, if you're not done, then we do want to see a progress report, a narrative explaining why it's not done and when your revised timeline and when it's expected to be done. If you are done, then you'll submit a final report, which just kind of shows, before and after pictures, your jobs created, if you're doing the grant that recreates the jobs, and just description of the program objectives that you met. Okay, next. All right. This is just the application process, just a quick summary. Again, consultation with ECD staff, and then we'll fill out the application and provide any attached information that we require per the guidelines. And then after the staff reviews, and then it'll be sent to either the ED director or city council on approval, depending if it's above or below the 25,000. And then once you get your executed agreement, you go ahead and do your activity, and then it needs to be done within 6 months. And then once it's done, then you submit your requests for reimbursement to cover the costs. Again, this information about this program can be found here on our website under the Business Incentives and Resources, under the Economic and Community Development webpage. There's the adopted EOA plan, the guidelines and application, a map of the EOA areas. We currently do have a flyer, and we're working on a FAQ. We should have that up shortly. And again, here's our contact information. If you want to get a hold of us, there's a phone number and our department email. Oh, yeah, and that's it. So if anybody has any questions for me, I do have the Q&A open. We'll see if there's any pop up. I don't see any yet. I'll give you a few minutes. Okay, here's some. Will there be any training on how to present a plan? I'm not sure if I understand. I don't know if you can, this is from Arlena. I don't know if you can clarify your question. I'm not sure if I understand it. I'll get back to you. I'll move on to the next one. Will you fund mixed use developments? Yes. Yeah, I mean, anything that I think is considered a good reuse, and helps, kind of bring back vacant parcels or building underutilized or just sitting vacant. Yeah, I think mixed use is a possibility. I'm assuming you mean both residential and commercial. Initially this really is a commercial, but I mean, I think any apartments we'd be willing to do, especially if it's a reuse of a property, and bringing, I think anything like that we can support. Next question. Is there a certain window for when to apply? It's open. We don't really have, basically every year budget cycle, the city allocates money. So the funding's there from this fiscal year. So I've only had 2 applicants so far. So basically the window's open until the funds are gone. So it's the application's there. You can apply now. If the city will definitely announce when a fund is no longer available for that year. It is kind of like a first come, first served basis right now. Next question from Rachel. What is the timeline and when will you start taking initial consultations? Oh, again, right now. You can call us, me and Alyssa are the main ones you want to talk, so you can just call that number there provided, ask for either me, Cecilia Griego, or Alyssa Kirschman, and we can start talking to you about your project. And then, I mean, Tony, can you clarify your question? You said, can we partner these funds? I'm assuming you mean with other funding. Yeah, I mean, if you're getting other funding sources, I mean, and this is just, our funding is, just under one of those funding sources, I don't see a problem. I realize, some of these projects, some of your projects, rehab projects can be pretty pricey and big, and our funding may not be enough for your project. So yeah, I mean, that's fine. Then a question from Troy. Will there be any effort to inform business owners in an EOA area that this program and grants is available? Well, yeah, we've put it on our Facebook page. We've put it on our website. We're hosting this webinar. I did send this flyer out to as many business owner, like the Chamber, Downtown Business Association, many business related organizations as I could. The Black Chamber, the Hispanic Chamber, they all got this flyer in the hopes, I asked them to please send it out to their membership. Yeah, so there were efforts being made to, and we'll continue to market this as much as we can. Also, please talk to your council members too. They all got flyers to send out and talk about with their constituents. Sorry. So yeah, we'll continue to market, and if you have ideas on how we can help spread the word, we're willing to entertain those also. Another question: will you fund new businesses? Yes. This is exactly, yeah. Any new business, you don't have to be an existing business. You can be a brand new business. We just definitely need to see some your efforts behind getting your business started, and if this is your very first business operation, yeah, but you do, just know it is a reimbursement based grant. So usually we want to see, your business going in operation, and then you can request the reimbursement. Okay, yeah, Tony was just clarifying. Yeah, with other funds, yeah. Troy, can you generate a map of potential proposed sites, like the map yesterday for the, I'm not sure. Potential proposed, I mean, We could do that, but we really are just relying on business owners to tell us to come to us. This is more to help the private sector, not so much to offer site. I mean, I'll let people find their own site for their own business and what works for them, and we're just here to support the business owner. As far as sites, I mean, anything in a zone, anything within this EOA area that's zoned for the business that you want to do. I mean, and if you want to use this program to help get started, you're more than welcome to it. All right, I think that's the last question. Anybody, I think I got them all. Is there any more? I'll give you guys a few minutes. You can always, again, call me, email, and we can talk that way and give more information. And feel free to, help me spread the word about this program too. If you know anybody who's interested, or if you know a business that looks like they have a planned improvement project and are in this EOA area, you're welcome. Oh, thank you, Allison. All right, looks like I don't have any more questions. So if again, contact us. Let us know. I'll be posting this webinar on our website, so feel free to let people know, and they can listen and get information just like you did today. And I think I will end it here. I'll stay on a couple more minutes in case I get any last minute questions, but thank you everybody for joining. I appreciate it. Oh, I do see a hand raised. Who has their hand raised? Oh, where did you go? I don't see. Oh, not anymore. Okay, sorry. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining me.